It's hard to imagine you won a title in 2021, and other than that, you've been going home in the first round. That's underachieving. But it means that with that level of greatness, more was expected. More is on the scene. But the reality is that you don't want to sit around and see Giannis at home in the first round every year and having one title on his resume, not even playing in another title. Nobody wants to see that.
Stephen A. Smith talks about Giannis underachieving if he doesn't win another championship. Check out what he had to say, and then I'll come back with my comments.
Yo, you said if Giannis doesn't win another championship, his legacy would be take a hit if he stays in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because, Giannis, he's one of my favorite dudes because he's a real one. But the way people took it, I don't think people grasp what I'm saying.
Okay.
I know he's an all-time great. There's no denying it. Of course he is. He's phenomenal. And we get that part. I'm saying because he's so phenomenal, if the last title he won was in 2021 and he's never to win a title again, you're going to be like, damn, what happened? Because his talent warrants that. You're not going to blame him. You know it's the organization. You know it's Chris Middleton and his knees. You know, it's Drew Holiday being moved out of town.
Dang.
You know, it's Brook Lopez not necessarily being that guy anymore. You know it's those other things. But what I'm saying is that when you're Giannis Antetokounmpo, as great and phenomenal as you are, although it's through no fault of your own, it's hard to imagine you won a title in 2021, and other than that, you've been going home in the first round.
Yeah, as far as Giannis underachieving if he only ends his career with one championship, I believe that one championship, pretty much tells a story. Winning a championship in Milwaukee, a franchise to where they haven't really won anything since Dr. J in that time or whenever that was in the 70s or 80s. So either way, Giannis, he could retire now and he'll still overachieve only because who's really winning a championship in Milwaukee? Who wants to play in Milwaukee other than to be on the other side and team up with Giannis? So everything he's done for that franchise and cementing it with that championship, even if Giannis doesn't win another championship, it doesn't mean he underachieved or it was a failure. He did his thing, and again, it's tough with the Milwaukee Bucks. Stephen A. Smith said it. Chris Middleton, with his deterioration in health and his body giving out, Giannis didn't have the best versions of a Chris Middleton before he parted ways a year ago. So things didn't work out with Damian Lillard. Their team kind of pretty much flatlined. So again, everything surrounding that, it's not an underachievement if Giannis doesn't win another championship. I believe Stephen A. Smith is wrong on his take.
Now, that doesn't mean he's to blame for it, but it means that with that level of greatness, more was expected. More is on the scene. We're looking at KD, for example. KD got his 2 titles. What have we been saying over the last 5 or 6 years? Where have you been? You've either missed the playoffs or you're going home in the first round. Okay? The one time you went in the second round was when Kawhi Leonard went down and you were able to knock off the Clippers because Kawhi Leonard went down because, remember, the game before Kawhi Leonard had played and he dropped 38. Yeah. So we're looking at stuff like that and we're saying, okay, because you're on this level, more is expected of you. And when that doesn't happen, particularly over a lengthy period of time, we're looking at that greatness and saying it wasn't enough. Now, in some instances, it could be you.
Yeah, I hear what he's saying. If you have a certain level of greatness, more is expected. But you got to also throw in situations to where even if you are great, but your team isn't good enough and teams around you are better, if your team didn't make moves when other teams are getting better, you got to factor that in as well. So, again, as long as Giannis got a championship, which he does, nothing's an underachievement. Of course, for him, maybe he may label it that way only because he wants to win as much as possible. But either way, Giannis is still going to be a legend, still going to be a GOAT, still going to be one of the greatest players or the greatest player in Milwaukee Bucks history. So he didn't underachieve if he doesn't win another championship.
But not with Giannis. It's not him. It's that you didn't get the pieces around him. But the reality is that you don't want to sit around and see Giannis at home in the first round every year and having one title on his resume, not even playing in another title. Nobody wants to see that.
So what happens?
It's what's expected.
So what happens if he decides he wants to leave to go compete for that?
I don't have a problem with it. because the organization would not have done what it's supposed to do.
But that's when he gets knocked for.
It depends. You got to remember. See, everybody says that. Like, for example, LeBron left. He went to join D. Wade and Bosh in Miami. So there was a knock for that. Certainly not for me, because the best 4 years I've had with you, I had no problem with it whatsoever.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Beautiful, beautiful thing for me.
So if LeBron does it and the media phrase it a certain way, it's cool. But I guarantee if Giannis goes to a stacked team like the Denver Nuggets, maybe with the Lakers, if they get another all-star player after LeBron leaves and he goes there, what's going to happen with that situation? So again, it's just so much stuff with the mainstream media. This is one of the things I don't like. They can push certain narratives like, okay, it's cool if he goes to this team, but if KD goes to the Golden State Warriors, there's like an asterisk by those 2 championships. He has to win another championship, or his career is a question mark as far as his legacy, his championship legacy. So I see how the media likes to play games. They force a player to leave by criticizing them and making them look a certain way. And if they don't go to that specific team you want that star player to go to, if they win, now their championship is a huge question mark. So if you're Giannis, hopefully he stays in Milwaukee, tries to win it, but either way, he's still going to go down as a legend.
So it was cool, right? KD, it wasn't even that you went to Golden State. It was that you did it after Golden State had beat you a month earlier. You were up 3-1, lose a 3-1 lead, and then when you lose the 3-1 lead and you end up losing that series and you were less than yourself in that game 6 and that game 7, to join that same exact team, had he left and went to another team other than Golden State, nobody would have sweated it. It was that he went to the people that knocked him off. So that's a different scenario than somebody like a Giannis, who wants to be in Milwaukee, has stayed in Milwaukee, delivered a title to Milwaukee, is a greyhound coming right at you, a locomotive coming right at you all the time, and you look at the pieces around him literally falling apart. You got Damian Lillard to come there and help him, and when Damian Lillard comes back from his injury, what happens? He tears his Achilles. So everywhere you turn, he can't catch a break. Nobody's judging Giannis if he decides to get up and leave Milwaukee. We know it's not him. And so when I'm on First Take, for example, I did a segment with Cam Newton one time. It was laughing because he would come to defense and say the kind of things that y'all were saying, and I'll be like this: don't let it be you. How about that one? That's the philosophy. Don't let it be you. You can't be the reason. You see what I'm saying? Nobody's looking at Giannis. But they did look at KD. When you lost against Dallas, they did look at LeBron. You know, these kind of things happen. When they're looking at you, that's when it gets dicey.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. But at the end of the day, I do believe you're still wrong. And again, if Giannis leaves and he goes to a team that the media deems as being stacked and that championship not counting, there will be narratives pushed on Giannis. That's why I want him to stay in Milwaukee unless he decides to go to the Miami Heat. My team, even though I'm rocking the Lakers hat, it's Dade County all day. So if Giannis goes to Miami and wins, I'm sure the media will love it, only because, that's a good little vacation while you're covering the NBA. But either way, LeBron going to Miami, even though he didn't lose to that team, think about what he did for that team and think about who he played with. Another Hall of Famer, 2 Hall of Famers in Wade and Bosh. So again, are those championships asterisks, or do they count because the media says so? Giannis not winning another championship in Milwaukee. Stephen A is already putting the smoke signals out there like his career may be an underachievement only because he should have won more, which I get it. Hopefully he wins more, but you shouldn't put him in that category as being an underachiever. Or some people may say, okay, you might as well call him a failure then because he didn't win more than one championship.
As opposed to everyone knows it's not you, but the pieces around you, the organization couldn't help you, and you decided to move on.
How many other players you feel that's in Giannis' position has that type of pressure, like you said, to win another one?
That type of pressure?
Would you say Jokic? Would you say Tatum?
I don't think Jokic, because we've seen Jokic be phenomenal, winning league MVPs, and we know, first of all, what you let go of Bruce Brown for, what you let go of Jeff Green for, money. So you compromise Jokic's success. because he still went out on the court and delivered. And you see him walking around. I mean, I say it affectionately, looking like a big tub of lard. Can't jump onto a curb, and you can't stop him. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, he just turned around and he's unstoppable. It's unbelievable to watch him play. So you don't point the finger at him. You are looking at KD.
Okay.
You in Houston, bro. Yeah, they lost in the first round. That's a damn good team who's the number 2 seed in the West. All right? They got a young thoroughbred. They got a big man. They got a shooter. All they really needed was you, a number 1 option. I was saying for the longest time during the play, I said, Jeff Green's up out of here. Up out of here. Because he's too streaky, but he's too inconsistent. And the level of dedication they felt they needed, they didn't feel they were getting from him. So I'm like, you Phoenix, okay, that's a young talent you can bring and grow. You still got Devin Booker there, but understand, you got to get something. But I'm looking at KD with Ime Udoka coaching this team and the personnel that they have. Houston should be knocking on the door. We look at Dallas. When you talk about a player, it's somebody, I would say it's KD. Anthony Davis comes to my mind. Here's why.
Okay.
You are the reason Luka's gone in Dallas. See, people not saying that. They keep talking about Luka in LA. No, AD, you in Dallas. You in Dallas. That's why Luka ain't here. You got to show up.
All right, let's go back to players that need to win a championship. Now, you brought up Nikola Jokic. Now, is Nikola Jokic just as good or better than Giannis from a talent perspective? Both won a championship. So if Nikola Jokic doesn't win another championship, did he underachieve? So again, I hear what Stephen A. Smith is trying to say, but it doesn't make sense. By him pretty much saying Giannis is an underachiever if he doesn't win another championship before the end of his career, you got to throw Nikola Jokic in the mix too with that same logic. So I think Stephen A. Smith, he's going to flip-flop and probably say the same thing about Nikola Jokic, but he's kind of stuck on his Giannis take. As far as KD needing to win another championship, I disagree. He carried the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, he went to the team that knocked them out and went to the finals, but they didn't win. They gave up a 3-1 lead. So doesn't that negate the whole negative stuff with KD going to the Golden State Warriors? They couldn't close the deal and they gave up a 3-1 lead versus the Cavs. So how does KD need to win another championship? Now, what I think KD did was he kind of put it on himself by going from team to team, the Brooklyn Nets, the Phoenix Suns, and now the Houston Rockets. Now, I like KD on the Rockets, and, they got an opportunity to win, but if KD doesn't win a championship in Houston, there shouldn't be an asterisk by his legacy. Now, as far as Anthony Davis needing to win, him being the reason why Luka's in LA, I get it, but Anthony Davis, he's not on the same level as the Nikola Jokic and the Giannis, so he's just a very good player that had a rapport with the GM, Nico Harrison, Nike and all that, so that's why he landed in Dallas. So either way, if they could have found another trade partner to get rid of Luka, they would have did it anyway. So again, Anthony Davis needing to win or the spotlight being on him, I get it, but I don't think he needs to win anything. He's not that type of player. He'll pretty much be injured every single season, but either way, Stephen A. Smith, he's standing on business with his Giannis take. I think he's wrong, and he's going to continue to stand on business. That's what Stephen A. Smith does.